Hello, my name is Azucena Reyes. Today we'll be going over Lab 9 lab results. So first of all, some of the safety precautions taken in this experiment was just biggest thing is ensure you follow the lab procedures accordingly and avoid pointing the laser at anybody's eyes to avoid any eye injury. And then with the second experiment is not eating the candy as instructed. And if you had any kids or pets, of course, keep them away from the candy as well. Um, Biggest thing is always keeping the exits and pathways clear, just in case an emergency if you had to evacuate, and then just wearing the proper garments, protective clothing, either apron or a lab coat. With that, we'll go on to the results. So I'll show you exactly what my results were for experiment 1. These were my lab results for experiment 1, and then experiment 2. Alright, and then we can flip over and I can show you the graph of table 2. Alright, so in the next discussing the results was a value obtained for the wavelength of the laser consistent with the range of wavelength expected. If not, what were your sources of error? So the wavelength of the laser was consistent with the wavelength expected. If it wasn't, some of the sources of error could have been not positioning the diffraction grating perpendicular, or positioning it too close or too far than what it was required. And then, like I said, with the graph, I was able to graph my results, so you were able to see, like I said, you were able to look at my graph at that point. With that, we can go to the next one, is critical thinking. Critical thinking is, why did the spectra from the laser light and flashlight differ when reflected from the CD surface? So the flashlight contains many wavelengths of light, and the CD itself acted like a diffraction grating, and which diffused all the colors, so that's why you were able to see all the different colors. And with the laser light, it had only one frequency and cannot split into different colors, so that's why when you pointed the laser at the CD, you were only able to see that single color, which was the red color, or the red dot. Was it predictable about radioactive? What is predictable about radioactive decay, and what is unpredictable? So what's predictable is you can sort of estimate the half-life. What was unpredictable is how long the particular isotope will take to decay. So with that, we can go on to the next. Self-reflection. Identify laboratory activities for each point of consideration and explain your reasoning, which was a most useful in supporting your understanding of content. So with that, I found Lab 6, just performing Lab 6 gave me an understanding of both exothermic and endothermic reactions. So with that, one, it was kind of fun making the ice cream, and just knowing how it broke it down further on how like an endothermic reaction works. It sort of gave me a better understanding. But so yeah, like I said, it was pretty fun making the ice cream. So with B, most useful in supporting your growth with laboratory technique or chemical safety, I would have to say Lab 3. And well, Lab 3 is isolating copper and calculating the molar ratio. So just dealing with sterno, or just dealing with the fire itself, and all the chemicals, and then just dealing with glass as well. With chemical safety, it was just the biggest thing was try to avoid not burning yourself when dealing with the fire, and then just like working with glass itself. The biggest thing is glass shattering, so you had to be cognizant of that as well. And then dealing with all the chemicals as well, just looking up in the STS to see what the hazards were. Biggest thing with that, just breathing in the fumes. But other than that, I mean, that was the biggest one I can think of. With C, least useful for supporting lecture content. After reviewing all the labs, I think all labs were very useful in supporting the lecture content. I don't think none of them, or any of them, were least useful. So yeah, like I said, they were all basically relevant to the course content. With D, least useful for supporting the development of my laboratory skills, I would have to say this lab. So Skittles, utilizing Skittles was a good idea, but actually conducting an actual decay experiment would have been very helpful. Would have been great. but I understand that the time, money, and equipment is unrealistic. So, like I said, just not being able to really practice or use my laboratory skills. Like I said, I found this lab the least useful. But yeah, other than that, this concludes my video. Thank you for watching.